Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Oldham County Fiscal Court. I'm David Vogel, Judge Executive. We're happy to have you here today on June 17th for our regularly scheduled meeting. If you have a cell phone with you, please turn it to off or vibrate. Now, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Magistrate Likens.
Here.
Magistrate Tice.
Here.
Magistrate Woosley.
Here.
Magistrate Jeffries.
Here.
Magistrate Hounds.
Here.
Magistrate Hawkins.
Here.
Magistrate Dye. Magistrate Logston. Here. And Judge Vogel.
Here, having all members of the fiscal court present, this meeting is now in session. Is there a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Are there any additions or deletions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Time now for public comment. That's our time during our fiscal court meeting when any Oldham County resident.
Approval of minutes.
Oops, did I miss something? All right, approval of the minutes, sorry. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
Second.
Are there any corrections there? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Time now for public comment, the time during our meeting when any resident of Oldham County is able to address the fiscal court with an issue or concern. I believe our county clerk, Amy Elvey, would like to be the first individual.
Yes. Good afternoon, Amy Alvey, Oldham County Clerk. I wanted to, oh gosh. My office has been receiving multiple calls regarding the street legal special purpose vehicles. So basically like an ATV or a RZR, regarding them becoming street legal effective June 27th, 2025. So I wanted to do a little public service announcement regarding that. So the legislation was Senate Bill 63 and the KRS that outlines the rules and regulations as 186.077. So this is just an example of the UTVs and side-by-sides that people will have the opportunity to license and tag in any county in Oldham County. It also talks about in that legislation pneumatic tire military vehicles as well as mini trucks. The 95% of the phone calls that we've received have asked about what the requirements are. So this is on our Facebook page, which our Facebook page is also linked to our website. So if you go to oldhamcountyclerk.ky.gov, it will also link to this as well. But this outlines all of the safety features that are required, such as tail lamps, brake lamps, rear turning signals, red reflectors, roll bar cage, windshield or eye protection. They have to have a seat belt. The speedometer has to be illuminated. They have to have rear view mirrors on each side, front turning signals, headlights, horns. They have to have a working braking system and muffler system, as well as 1/16 tread on the tires. Another question that a lot of the callers have is these vehicles will be treated the same as a motorcycle or a car. They have to have insurance on them. They will have to be inspected by the Sheriff's Department to ensure they meet all of those safety standards. You will have to pay tax on this every year, just like you do a car. The registration for a vehicle is $21 per year. This is $19.50 plus your usage tax. So based on whatever the value is of that ATV that you want to license in Oldham County, it will be exactly the same as what you would pay on your car. So I don't want people to think that they pay the one-time fee and then next year in their birth month in 2026 that they're surprised that they get a tax bill, and it's because that they license this as a roadworthy vehicle. If you do not have documentation that you yourself paid sales tax, so if Amy Alvey went to Wayne's Polaris and bought the side-by-side, and I have a receipt to show that I paid sales tax, when I go to license this as a street legal special purpose vehicle, I won't have to pay the sales tax on that. That's 6% of the value of the vehicle or of the ATV because I have documentation. If I bought it from Chris Hounds, I didn't pay any sales tax to Chris Hounds, so you'll have to pay sales tax at the time that you want to convert it to a street legal special purpose vehicle. So people just need to be aware of that as well. It will have bright green plate that is on the vehicle on there. So this is the KRS. So we've also had a lot of questions of whether or not these street legal special purpose vehicles include golf carts. They do not. Street legal special purpose vehicles does not include low speed vehicles as defined in KRS 186.010. So this does not include golf carts. So like I said, we've had multiple calls on that. The biggest question that we have is callers are asking, when June 27th rolls around, I can take my ATV and ride it up to the Mexican restaurant to eat dinner. No, you cannot. So it specifically says in KRS 186.077 2A, it says a person shall not operate a street legal special purpose vehicle on a highway if the highway is located within a jurisdictional boundary of a local government where the operation of the special purpose vehicle has not been allowed by local ordinance. So if Fiscal Court does not take action, or any of the other cities located within Oldham County, if they do not take action to allow them within their jurisdictional boundaries, then they are not allowed to be driven on the roadways. So I just want to make sure everyone understands, yes, the legislation goes into effect on June 27th, but 2A specifically states that they're not allowed to be driven on the roadway unless the local government where the operation of the special purpose vehicle has been allowed. So again, if Fiscal Court does not take any action to allow them, or the city of LaGrange does not take any action to allow them, they are not allowed to be driven on the roadways. So that's all I have. I just wanted to come up and kind of give an overview of what that legislation is, and so people understand that June 27th doesn't give you free rein to drive them on the roads.
Judge.
Yes, sir.
Like city of LaGrange or whatever, in order to get to the city of LaGrange, they'd have to drive on county roads or state roads or whatever. So even if LaGrange or Crestwood or whatever voted to allow them to do this, could they do it?
If they could take a state highway to get to it, that's a possibility. But being able to drive from a state,
I see a shaking head with the sheriff.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not going to allow them because it's at the county jurisdiction at large. It's not based on the actual state highway.
Right.
On the road designation. It's what's within those city limits,
Thank you.
or county limits, should I say.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Measure Woolsey.
Sal, you talked about sales tax. How far does that go back? So if I've had a side-by-side for 10 years, are they going to base it on what I paid for it 10 years ago, or what the value of it is now when you go to collect sales tax?
They say that we'll have the ability to put the VIN number in through the PVA system, and the PVA will assess the value of it. So as long as if you show that you paid sales tax and it was a $20,000 ATV, 10 years ago, and you show the proof that you paid sales tax, my understanding is that the PVA will assess it at whatever value they see it deemed at as 10 years old, and we wouldn't charge you sales tax because you have documentation that you paid sales tax at the time of purchase. Okay. But if you buy it from an individual and didn't pay sales tax, then you pay 6% of whatever the PVA value of the vehicle is.
Do you know if LaGrange or Crestwood or any other incorporated areas are looking at passing an ordinance for this?
I sent the draft ordinance that was provided by CAECO to all of the cities in Oldham County, and then I sent it to the Public Safety Committee as well. I've not heard back from any of the cities if they're going to pass any legislation or not to allow them. But I did ask if they do to let me know so I can let the police departments know, as well as we can provide a list to anybody. But we will still permit them. We will still license them and put plates on them in Oldham County, because if they decide they want to go to Laurel County and ride at Wildcat, they can still park at their hotel or their campsite if Laurel County allows it, and then ride their ATV to, the park to be able to do their four-wheeling and stuff. So we will still allow them. It's a good example is that some counties don't have any lakes or a river or anything, but they still license boats because those people take those boats to other counties for recreational use. So we'll still license them in Oldham County and still collect the fees and the taxes, but they may be able to use that recreational vehicle in another county that allows them.
Magistrate Dye.
So what the end result is, nothing changes. If they own one, unless an ordinance is passed, they have to continue what they've been doing, correct?
For driving, yes.
Yeah.
But if they want a license plate for it, they have to upgrade it if it doesn't have all of these safety features and get a license a license plate through our office. It'll be inspected through the sheriff's department. If they want to have the ability to ride it on other roadways in other counties where they're allowed, they'll have to have that green license plate on it.
And if somebody sees this and says, boy, it's pretty neat, I can do this, this, and this, but they can go buy one, but is the retailer incumbent to tell anybody, unless they pass an ordinance, you got to keep it pretty the way it is now?
We've had, our local retailer here has been in constant communication with our office on the updates on it. So I'm sure that they will pass it along because they'll be happy to sell them all of the upgrades to it. You just can't ride it in Oldham County right now.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Magistrate Hawkins.
Where did the June 27 date come from?
I believe it's the 90 days from the approval date of Senate Bill 63.
Okay, so that came from
The state.
The state.
Yes. Yeah.
So the
That's the
state-
effective date of Senate Bill 63.
So the state implemented a date for this, for ATVs.
Correct.
The state implemented dates for cannabis sales to start in counties and in the state. But they didn't offer a date for when the data center sales and use tax exemption would start. So I just wonder, it's
Yeah,
not for
I was
you,
like,
it's
I
just an observation.
have no
I wonder how that one slipped through the
Yeah.
cracks.
So because it's based off the approval of the legislation. I believe it's 90 days from the end of session.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Amy.
Thanks, Judge.
Good afternoon, Jim Silliman, County Engineer. If you have driven on Eden Parkway or Ernie Harris Parkway recently, you've seen construction associated with the Oldham project to provide new sanitary sewers and force main in the area. One component of that project involves installing sewers down Wayno Drive in the Lakewood Valley subdivision, where there will be the Old Lagoon treatment plant replaced with a pump station to pump the effluent upstream to the LaGrange plant. At Fiscal, I'm sorry, not at Fiscal Court, at Road Committee today, I presented the draft maintenance of traffic plan that we'd requested from the contractor for how they were going to manage traffic on Wayno Drive during that construction for informational purposes, and we'll make that available for posting on social media. But at Road Committee, there were some questions that I was asked that I think the contractor would be better suited to answer the questions. And Flynn Brothers, the contractor, was able to provide a couple representatives to us, to answer these at very short notice. So they are here for your questions, and I do have to help them and you. This is the exhibit. Here you go. Gentlemen.
Is this Flynn? Flynn Brothers?
Hi, JD Fiscal with Flynn Brothers Contracting. So what we've got here is somewhat of a difficult phase of our project. We're going down Wayano Drive. Obviously, it's a community. There's a lot of homes there. Our number one priority is to work with the community to make sure that they have access to their homes, ingress, egress. So I worked this up as a draft before I sent it off to my contractor who will actually engineer this per MUTCD standards, make sure that we have advanced warning and stuff like that. If you look at the bottom there where it connects with West Moody, we have phase 1, which is 6 days. So the intent is to really close the entirety of this road from Joyce to West Moody for the entire time that we're working in there. That being said, maintaining access, in other words, if we're at phase 1, everybody that lives in phase 2, 3, 4 still has access. They're just going to be met with a traffic control person to get them in and out, make sure that they're guided in and they're getting to the right place. Anybody inside the phase that we're working will be guided traffic. We'll have road plates on hand if we have an open trench, and make sure that they have access to their home. So Mr. Silliman said that y'all might have some questions I can answer, and I'm here for it.
Manager Hawkins.
So this is in my district, and I just want to make sure that my constituents can get in and out with ease if there's an emergency, and we have some elderly back there. So how can you assure me to help me assure them that it's not going to be too terribly difficult over these next 2 weeks?
Again, we have road plates that we'll have on hand as
does
we
that
dig
mean?
in. It's a big iron plate that we put over the trench. So it's traffic rated plate. We use them all the time. They won't be pinned, so we'll be able to pick them up and move them as the need arises. As we dig and lay, we're going to be backfilling and bringing that up to grade with stone. So it's not like we're going to have open trench throughout all of phase 1 and have to plate a bunch of stuff. We get 30 feet downstream, we're going to be backfilled 20 feet where we can plate 20, or the last 10 feet. So we're going to do our very, very best. We understand we all live in homes and communities as well. The best way to make your constituents feel better, I don't really know, other than you have our word that we're going to work hard to make sure that everybody is interrupted as little as possible.
Do you work in the rain?
We try not to, but this summer we have been because we haven't had a whole lot of choice. So
Okay, so if somebody's leaving their driveway and there's a trench that you've dug, and so they just flag you down or whistle or?
No. So their driveways will be blocked. They'll be physically blocked with cones or big delineators. So they'll see that. But yes, we'll have anytime there's open trench, we'll have 4 or 5 guys out there working that trench. We're not going to open up a bunch of trench and then fall back and install pipe. We're going to dig and lay, which is if we've got 40 feet of pipe to install in this particular section, we're going to open it up to about 60 foot, but the guys are going to be right there digging it.
Okay, so if they're digging it, somebody has to get out, you'll lay that stuff down that you were saying, the grates, they'll get out, you'll uncover it, get back in.
Right, yeah, so we'll be digging it with an excavator, setting pipe, backfilling as we're going. If somebody happens to need to come out while we have an open trench, we'll stop them very quickly, throw a plate on top of them. I mean, we're not talking 3 or 4 minutes. I mean, the plates will be right there where we're working. The equipment that we're using, it's real simple to hook onto it, set the plate, they come through, we'll guide them through the closure, and they're good to go.
Do you have somebody that can be in communication with dispatch should anybody need to be dispatched out there, where somebody from dispatch could call your foreman and just allow access kind of quickly before an ambulance needs to
You're
get
talking
there?
emergency services?
Yes.
Yeah, so typically, this is the first one I've done in Oldham County, working in Jefferson County and the surrounding counties. When we submit a plan like this, it typically goes to emergency services. But yes, we can absolutely provide a point of contact. It would either be myself or Jason Dermody, who's the superintendent on there, to make sure that we have access no matter what. If emergency services are coming, we'll have enough notice. We'll plate the entire trench line and move cones and be ready for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Manager Downs.
Yes, sir.
What's the rating on are they fire truck rated? So like 80,000 pounds?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They're actually, we run our low boys over them that get up to 120, 150,000 pounds,
Okay.
so yes.
Magistrate Likens, did you have a question there?
Yes, I did. I said to do this any other way would probably take 3 or 4 times as long.
Yes, sir.
So this is really the only way to go with it.
Yes, sir.
Magistrate Jeffries.
Yeah, I think you answered the question. I think, just especially the concern about ambulances and fire trucks and things like that being able to get through there. So I
Yes,
think,
sir.
it's going to be a challenge, and we'll certainly, as magistrates, try to get the information out on our Facebook pages and whatever to make folks aware, because, if somebody goes to come out of their driveway and their driveway's blocked, they're probably not going to be real happy,
Right,
And so-
and part of this is, and I sent it to Jim Silliman, and I'm sure he'll publish it, we're gonna post advance notices on every home within that closure. And included in that advance notice is this marked up plan. And my hope is that if anybody has any concerns or questions, my contact information is on there, so they can reach out directly to me, and I can do what I can to soothe their concerns and make sure that we're working again with that community to ensure that we don't have any big complaints, issues. I mean, in all honesty, we get complaints no matter what we're doing. Sometimes it's just how it goes, but we work really hard to keep that relationship going.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Magistrate Woosley.
Yes, thanks for coming on such a short notice.
Yes,
I think
sir.
we gave you about an hour and a half notice before this meeting today.
Hey, I'm here for y'all.
When you get finished with phase 1 after those first 6 days, are you going to reopen phase 1 for those folks to be able to then go back out onto West Moody? Or will that section be closed the entire time?
The plan was to keep it closed the entire time. Now, we can talk about that. It would involve putting some temp asphalt down on those trenches. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I can tell you that we're going to fall back to phase 1 for the pump station at some point, so we can issue another traffic control plan in advance notice. But I would be absolutely open to that. If that would make the community feel better about what's going on, yeah.
Okay. And then when you get finished, will you repave the whole road?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Magistrate Dye.
Oh, what is the projected date to shut down the package plant?
The plant itself,
Yeah,
that's going to push into about August, late August,
okay,
before we start really get moving on that.
okay.
Duration for this, I've got it starting on or about 6:30 and finishing mid-July-ish.
Now, this might be too early of a question, but I'll ask it anyway. When they decommission the plant, do they plan on filling in the lagoon?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
I think that's it. All right, thank you.
I appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Jim, I have one more
Thank you,
question.
Jim.
Jim, could you
One more.
go back to the podium? Could you talk to us a little about Rollington Road, please, and give us an update on that?
Certainly. So the Rollington Road Drainage Improvement and Roadway Project that was awarded recently, the intent was we wanted to start that project early June, but material ordering has pushed that back. There's a large box culvert that has to be replaced as part of that project. So right now, our contractor is anticipating starting construction on July 7th. So
All right,
July
thank you.
7th is the planned closure date for that, and similar to this, when we approach that a little more, I'll provide some information that you can post on social media or other platforms to share with the community.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else here who would like to address the fiscal court now? I ask you to state your name and address, please.
Patricia Otero, 3618 Alexander Drive in LaGrange. So this has to do with data center. But last week I was perusing news over the internet, and I ran across this article that has to do with Atlanta, and I wanted to share it only because Atlanta has rules and regulations in place currently, and they are going to expand their rules and regulations having to do with data centers. So I thought that was important to share because we don't have any. So I'm just going to read a couple little things here. It says, this is from Atlanta News First. And it was saying that in Georgia, they have 85 data center sites, and that they use a jaw-dropping amount of energy and water to cool them continuously. The Atlanta City Council voted unanimously to tighten their zoning restrictions for data center projects and are requiring developers to seek a special use permit. And the new ordinance will also outright bar data center projects from certain areas. Let's see. One of the council representatives brought up her reason for voting for additional guidelines was chemical exposure, fire hazards, e-waste, potential cybersecurity risk, and the amount of energy that is consumed as reasons to keep data centers out of some areas, including in Atlanta, they've specified some particular neighborhoods. So I just wanted to bring that up because Atlanta already has the guidelines in place and they're tightening them up. So I thought that would be good for you all to keep in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to address this issue?
Hello, Jamie Hilligans, 7925 Oregon Creek Road, Pendleton. I want to express my disappointment and concern that Oldham County does not yet have a moratorium in place. When the 150-day data center moratorium was first discussed, I understood that it would be in place for our county in May. This court, could have called a special meeting to adopt the moratorium to properly protect our county from receiving further data center applications prior to developing proper ordinances. A substantial amount of time has passed, and the first reading took place on June 3rd. If further data center applications are submitted and received, or if there are attempts to add exemptions or carve-outs during the second reading on June 26th, the public will remain concerned about the appearance that this court may be intentionally delaying the adoption of a moratorium. To be clear, a significant number of your constituents have requested special meetings to get this moratorium in place without delay and without exemptions or carve-outs. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hi, it's Barry Laws, 3411 Fendley Mill Road. There's been a lot of banter on Facebook, and unfortunately, some of it's very negative, and I apologize for our community that this is even happening. Judge is wondering why we are still concerned it's pulled from the 53. Legitimate concern. To date, only the judge and Magistrate Woosley have publicly come out against the 53 location. And if I'm wrong, somebody can straighten me out. Am I wrong or not? So the rest of you supposedly are still for the 53 location. Now my concern with that is the application has been pulled, but they still have a sales contract. Am I right on that? I believe I am. What is to keep them from circling back around, reapplying as Project Joe and redoing this whole process, and then we're back where we started from? So it's a big concern, and I understand everybody wants applause from pulling it off the 53, but as a neighbor within a quarter of a mile of this project, I'm still very, very concerned, and it's very disturbing. Plus, we don't have regulations in place right now for the current one, and we don't know what regulations are coming down the pike. So I appreciate you considering that.
Barry, I'd like to ask you a question, if you don't
Sure.
mind. I saw a video that you put on a website.
Thank you for watching.
Right. And in the course of the video, you made a comment that the Board of Adjustment members were all handpicked by the county judge.
Is that incorrect?
You have served on a tourism board in the past in Oldham County. Were you handpicked to be on that board?
Well, you approved it.
Pardon?
You approved it.
Right. Every person on every board in this county is selected by me and submitted to the fiscal court for approval. So to use the word handpicked is sort of a pejorative word that implies something that is not actually accurate.
I can understand that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else here who would like to address the fiscal court?
Good afternoon, Alan Hayes, 2923 North Highway 53, LaGrange, Kentucky. Good afternoon. Thank you, Judge Executive and members of the court. I rise to support the proposed moratorium. We now have a brief window to step back and assess our position. We need to design a framework that protects our community while still allowing for future investment. In previous remarks, I've laid out the legal, technical, and financial foundation for a county-operated thermal utility. That groundwork has already been presented, and it's still sound. We've also discussed the potential for millions of dollars in annual savings for Oldham County schools, government buildings, and local businesses and residents who choose to connect. But there's also another benefit that we have not talked enough about, and that's control. A thermal utility gives Oldham County the regulatory tools needed to manage the quality of life. If we require the heat recovery and ban wasteful rooftop cooling systems, we can directly limit the noise, moisture, building height, and heat emissions, all as a matter of public health and zoning and not just as a suggestion. Here's the core point. We're not building a traditional thermal plant that must generate and sell heat. The data center produces the heat, waste heat, and we use it or we don't. That flips the economics. Our job isn't to create heat, it's simply to move it to somewhere that's useful. So how far can we send it? In Europe, thermal systems regularly transmit high-grade heat 20 to 25 miles. That's more than enough to reach Shelbyville, Eminence, parts of Henry, and Trimble counties, all from Oldham County. Because this heat is treated as waste stream, we don't need to make a profit on it. We just need to avoid wasting the opportunity. That opens the door to a regional partnership instead of regional competition. Oldham County can serve as an anchor using the heat locally to reduce public building costs and attract office and light industrial development. And then rather than fighting over deals, we can pipe excess heat to our neighbor counties and help them to grow too, all paid for by a data center, not the taxpayer. The question's been asked, what if a data center ever closes? The system still works. It continues operating in a passive mode, allowing connected buildings to benefit from shared efficiencies. The long term, we can integrate other heat sources just like any dual purpose utility. This is a moment to think beyond one site or one project. The moratorium gives us that space to plan regionally, build deliberately, and secure long-term benefit for Oldham County and its neighbors. Let's not miss it. So thank you.
I want to thank you for submitting that idea. Ellen's idea is for a thermal heat district to try to, if a data center is approved here, to capture heat from it and use it in other facilities in our community. I have submitted that idea to Western Hospitality. I've not heard back yet, but I think it's an excellent idea that is certainly worth seriously pursuing. Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to address the fiscal court?
I'm Elaine Tischendorf, 1153 Canterbury Way. That's in Springhouse. I'm concerned about the new location that's now being looked at because of all of the pollution that we heard about when U of L came over and apprised us of the various ways that our water, our air, our ground, the noise, the light, etc., could affect us. I'm about 1 mile, as the crow would fly, from all of this. And it concerns not only all of us in Springhouse, but it also encompasses the high school, the middle school, which is also very close, the hospital, and all of the residents who live in those areas on the other side of where this would be placed. So I'm asking you to please give us the moratorium without exceptions. We already have one group in here, a large corporation. We know what happens when large corporations are given free rein. We do not have anything in place that would control them, and I'm not sure they can even be controlled. So I ask you, please give us this moratorium that will allow all of us, including all of you, to listen to the films from Virginia and from Memphis and from all of the other places that already have these things in place with very or no control. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the fiscal court?
Mine has nothing to do with the data center. Michael Slider, 7004 Colton Road, Crestwood, Kentucky. Last time I was here, I told you all that this relationship that the detention center has with ICE was eventually going to blow up in our face. When you have an agency acting lawless and belligerent, it's going to eventually implode at this point sooner rather than later. My mother told me that when I was growing up not to hang out with people who broke the law, because even if I didn't break the law, eventually I was going to earn a reputation. We're going to earn a reputation if we don't watch what we're doing. We already have people in the streets right now all around the country over ICE. The next thing that's going to happen is we're setting ourselves up for liability and lawsuits. Mr. Baxter may become a very busy man. While we're on the subject of the county attorney, Mr. Baxter may want to make himself familiar with Jimenez Moreno versus Napolitano. This was a federal court case in which they ruled the jail enforcement model that we are signed on to with the detention center, that ICE exceeded their authority for 3 reasons. Number one, they issued detainers without probable cause before a judge or magistrate, a violation of the 4th Amendment. They do not notify individuals they have detainers issued against them, a violation of the 5th Amendment, and they provide no means by which individuals can challenge their extended detention, a violation of the 5th Amendment. Let me tell you a real life story. I had a family member from a surrounding county, I will not mention which one to protect the identity, call me a couple of weeks ago because their kid is in a detention center, not their kid, a family member who is from Mexico, who was undocumented, who got picked up in a surrounding county for a minor traffic violation. They were then put in that detention center. The wife, they're married to a legal U.S. citizen, came and tried to get their assets, and they were not allowed to have them. They were then transferred to the Oldham County Detention Center so we can make our $73 off their head being in there. All right, and then once they were in there, they were eventually transferred far away to another detention center, which once again, I won't mention the name to protect the identity, and the family doesn't know when or if they are going to see them again. You all, this is what we are a part of right now. This is what we are a part of. Okay, so we're running around the state in the Midwest with our vans and our bus so we can fill up our massive prison at $73 a head that we should have never built to begin with for a county our size, but it is what it is. And what it boils down to, you all, is we are involved right now, and basically let's call it what it is. It's legalized human trafficking so that we can make money. Now, with that being said, we have a petition that has over 600 signatures right now to terminate, for Mr. Tyndall to terminate our 287G relationship with ICE, which you all fund, the $238,000 for the van and the new bus and all that, so we could expand and bring in more immigration prisoners. That would be a great start to terminate that agreement. But we really need to completely terminate, or until this agency stops acting lawless, until they are reformed or replaced by somebody else, we need to terminate any relationship with this agency. And if we need to get creative and bring in other federal prisoners so we can make up the money, or if we need to get really creative and close off a wing of the detention center, I'm willing to sit on a working committee with some of you all, whether I'd be glad to join it with a couple of magistrates, with Jailer Tyndall. I've had many discussions with him. He's a very reasonable guy. And sit down and discuss maybe something else that we could do. Because as long as we're involved with this agency, it is a scar on the face of Oldham County. It is an embarrassment that we are listed as an ICE detention site. All right, and I want that off our record. So I'm pleading with you to consider this issue. Please reach out to me. All right, go to kycitizens.org. Our email is on there. Mr. Woosley, you have my cell phone number. Let's talk about this, okay? Thank you all.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else to address the fiscal court?
Hello, I'm Jailer Tyndall, Jeff Tyndall, 3405 West Highway 146. I just want to let Oldham County know I've served this county for 28 years. I've been the jailer the last 3 years. There's some things out there that people in Oldham County may or may not know. We have had a relationship with other county agencies for the last 28 years that I've worked here. We've had relationships we got a U.S. Marshal contract in 1997. We worked with immigration since 1997. We've had a contract with Oldham, of course, here. This is our county. Henry, Trimble, Scott, Shelby, Jefferson, Nelson. What people don't understand are jails. We have a nice jail. And I go in every day for care, custody, and control, for safety and security. Over the last 28 years, that's what we've done. We have been a class act for this county, and we will continue to be a class act. The $73 a day has nothing to do with immigration. That has something to do with the federal contract that we put into place last May. Last May, our contract was $57 a day. Every 3 years, you can work out a contract, renegotiate your contract, and we got it to $73 a day. The 287G that Mr. Slaughter's talking about is something we work with immigration. There has been nothing with 287G that the immigration has presented to us for training or anything. So to be called human trafficking, that's a disgrace. That is an absolute disgrace. And I'm here for the county and the people of the county. And I represent my county well, and I appreciate you all supporting me. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the fiscal court at this time? All right, seeing no one, I'm going to backtrack just a little bit here and have some things myself to say here. The prospect of a data center in Oldham County has produced a lot of controversy. Some residents appear to have made it their full-time job to oppose a data center anywhere in Oldham County. Particularly now, since it's moved from 53 to another location, they're still opposed, even though there haven't been any specifications about what the company would like to do. None have been forthcoming. I read where one resident even said that she couldn't sleep at night because of this. I won't comment on that, but I think we all can sleep. The number of inaccurate statements being made and the misinformation that's about is absolutely impossible to keep up with. The level of discourse occurring in relation to this subject is not worthy of Oldham County. Objections were raised to the data center on Highway 53, and we worked with the applicants to have them agree to move to another location, an industrial area between a railroad track and an interstate highway next to a power plant. But yet the objections and attempts to mix apples with oranges keeps coming. I realize that any new development, especially something as significant as a data center, raises some real questions and real concerns. However, I ask you to consider this. The digital infrastructure we rely on every day for work, school, emergency services, communication, does not exist in the abstract. It needs a home, and if our community is to be part of the future and not left behind, we need to, at this point, thoroughly consider and examine this request and see if it fits or doesn't fit with our county. I've said in the past I did not support the Highway 53 project. I've said that I would consider other locations as my vote on this court. Nevertheless, I'm continuing to be lambasted and browbeaten under all kinds of circumstances. This project isn't about profit at the expense of the community. It's about considering long-term investment in our shared future, bringing tax revenue, jobs, and opportunity while working within environmental, safety, and appropriate guidelines. We've been called greedy for being willing to consider this project for the tax revenue it would generate for most of the taxing districts in the county. Surprisingly, no one said we're greedy for trying to locate other projects in the Oldham Reserve, but that's the word that's out there. Now, how many people would a data center employ? I'm not actually sure. But if a medical office was built here and it had only 25 employees, I think we'd welcome it to the community and be glad we had it. Last week in the Oldham Era, an article appeared which discussed an airport in Bourbon County, but also mentions our data center in the consideration here under a headline which includes the words secrecy and eminent domain. The article was written by a man who says he's a commercial pilot. At our last meeting, Mr. Nathan Oberg said he's a 30-year airline pilot and captain. He told the court that airline safety is built on strict adherence to policy and procedure. Now, why a commercial pilot in Bourbon County is concerned about a data center in Oldham County is a question I can't answer. But I want to assure everyone here that we are adhering to strict policy and procedure and safety, even if we don't all see it the same way. And I want to assure our community that the words eminent domain are not applicable here. There's never been in our county any eminent domain of any kind, and there won't be any, at least during this administration. Raising the possibility of eminent domain is a complete falsehood intended to frighten casual observers and help generate opposition to a project, all before it goes through the strict policy and procedures that are required to get a fair hearing. The only eminent domain I'm actually familiar with happened in the late 1980s when about 250 people in Louisville, in Edgewood, South Park, Prestonia, Standiford, and Highland Park neighborhoods had their homes taken away from them so UPS could expand its runways in certain buildings. I wonder, as they land their planes at night, if the well-paid pilots look at the lighted runways and buildings below and ever think of those 250 people who lost their homes to storage buildings and runways. Frankly, I doubt it. And I wonder if Mayor Abramson was ever called greedy for backing the expansion of the airport. Additional tax revenue in Oldham County will help all our taxes units if possible. I'm going to go through some of the things that might happen. I say might because nothing's guaranteed, but nothing happens till someone has an idea or does something. We may be able to limit future property tax increases from all the districts in the county. There's an ability for fiscal court to revenue share with LaGrange and Crestwood, Pee Wee Valley, Orchard Grass, Goshen, and River Bluff. If we get money as a court, we could certainly give some to those needy cities to help them for their residents. Now, we might have more police officers, actually. It costs $200,000 a year to put one policeman on the street. We've had break-ins at night, people coming out here stealing from cars, causing all kinds of problems. We generally have about 5 officers on at night. They cannot cover the entire county. Now, if we have an extra $1 million from somewhere, we could hire 5 more police officers. We may be able to relieve some congestion here. People talk about traffic. How about building some new county roads if we had a little extra money? We might need some guardrails along dangerous roads. Put them there in the past. Use county money on State Highway 393 because someone was seriously hurt by the Oldham County Community Center years ago. Some people objected to me spending county money on the state highway. The person who wound up in the hospital for 3 months was very appreciative, though. A lot of our roads in this county, state roads, are deteriorated. The road to to Westport is an absolute mess. Takes $200,000 to pave a mile of county of state secondary road. We can pave that road to Westport with $800,000. We might have some widened roads and bike lanes. How about some new night lighting for the South Oldham Little League? We've got 700 families there that have asked for night lighting help. We can't give it to them right now. We don't have enough to go around. Some people have come to me and said they want an ice skating rink in Oldham County. Their kids love to ice skate, but they can never get on the ice at Iceland. It's always full. We might be able to have an ice skating rink and community program for kids here that do a lot of things, bowling and ice skating and other things. We went through the indoor pool idea a while ago, and I wanted one, but I lost out, and we've got don't have a covered pool. We've got an outdoor pool. It's only good for 90 days a year. And so we spend a lot for 90 days. Kids have fun, but we have our high school swimming teams go to Jefferson County at 6 in the morning, I believe, is what I've been told, to practice. Basketball arena, a number of people have asked for that. Right here on this court said we need a multi-floor basketball arena. We could use new restrooms at Wendell Moore Park. We could do some waterway improvements at Harrods Creek, Floyd's Fork, Curry's Fork, and Darby Creek. If you have a daughter that's a teacher in the school, if she's in elementary or middle school, she gets an allocation, I believe, from the school board for classroom supplies, but probably winds up spending $300 or $400 or $500 more of her own money to pay for classroom supplies. How about giving all our teachers $1,000 a year for classroom supplies? We could use some increases for public employees. Some are not that well paid. A lot of people think, oh boy, public employees, well, we struggle to keep people on board here, believe me. The Extension Service has bought 22 acres on Highway 22. They bought property out there. They want to make a nice extension facility. We have hundreds of families in this county that are involved in the extension facilities. We just built a new library at Goshen, but South Oldham has had to go without a new library. How about it, South Oldham? Would you like the same thing that Goshen has? You may get it someday if the library board had a few extra dollars. LaGrange needs full-time firemen. We don't have it. They want it, but they're capped on how much money they can collect. They can't get it. I've even asked somebody for a riding stable. I guess you can go to Iroquois Park and ride horses if you want to, but horses are a big part of Oldham County. We might be able to have a riding stable here someday. Now, these are just ideas that came off the top of my head, frankly, and the things that people have asked me for. But when we say no data center here, no more money, okay, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but it might work. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't know, pardon me, I'm continuing here. Now, twisted comments are being made on social media have led some people to call me a liar. say I have no interest in protecting the county, and I'm getting paid under the table. I've seen that. And I'm just an illiterate, good old boy who's been here for too long and needs to get out as fast as anybody can get me out of office, and that won't be too much more. And I find these things that people say on the internet, but they never come and say them right to your face at fiscal court for some reason. You know, we're people here too. We live here. Now, people here are saying, what's wrong with us? Why don't these people hear us? We elected you. You owe us. We're going to vote you out. Okay? Do it. Run for office if that's what you think you have to do. But we hear you, and we're moving forward with strict adherence to our policy and procedures. Okay? And the regulations are being formed. We're getting it together. I won't say we weren't caught. Some people say, well, you knew about this in November. We did not know about it. The word came up, and it was a word that's never been mentioned in our county before, and people automatically thought that we should be 100% up to speed in the next 30 days. Well, we weren't. Now, from the very beginning of this data center, we've been told this right here, follow the process. However, it seems as though the people who said follow the process are now angry because we're following the process and not called a special meeting outside the county's regular process to rush a data center moratorium in here when we know full well there's only one application out there and we're going to deal with it. And I realize we're not flying an airplane here, but we are following strict policy and procedure given the circumstance. More than 100 years ago, former President Teddy Roosevelt was having a conflict with a certain member of his cabinet who wanted to cave into opposition on an issue at a certain time. Roosevelt did not. Roosevelt made a comment that's gone down in history. He said he could carve more backbone out of a banana than he could out of that particular individual. Right now, it'd be pretty easy for all of us here sitting on the fiscal court to cave in, say, you're right, we quit, go ahead, do it the way you want to do it. We're going to stop this right now, never consider it, acknowledge our mistake, and then everything would be fine. Everybody'd say, okay, you guys grew up, the world is all right again, we can all go on. But that's not the way to do it. Although you say you are Oldham County, the fiscal court is the elected body that represents the entire community of Oldham County. You're a group within Oldham County, but you're not Oldham County. You claim 4,000 members, that we've got 70,000 residents that live here. And they live here. We don't know who's in your 4,000 member group. I suspect there's people all over the place, more than Oldham County. We've never been told. You want us to slam the door on a data center without considering any more information yet to be put forward by a specific applicant. But there are residents in our county who are willing to listen and make a decision after all the information has been presented and the regulations discussed and created. The fiscal court is trying to balance the entire county and its future among those who are willing to listen and those whose minds are already made up. The process is being followed, and that's what we're going to do. At the next meeting, we will approve the moratorium, I'm sure, without the AT&T amendment. They're willing to do away with it. But that's where we are. We're going to make regulations, and the regulations will be discussed, and there will be no data center in this county until all of the regulations are put together, firm, solid, secure, safe, for everybody, and then we'll make a final decision on going forward or stopping the whole thing. So that's all I've got to say about this. Thank you for listening. I know it's been long and perhaps hard to listen to.
Judge, the county has millions of dollars in surplus. If you wanted to get any of those things done, we could have already had it done, and we did it without data center money.
Well, that's true, but
if you wanted anything on that list done,
right now, Mr. Woosley.
If you wanted anything on that list done, sir, it would have been done because we have millions of dollars in surplus. So to add on all of this stuff is just,
Mr. Woosley,
ridiculous.
I didn't recognize you to speak, Mr. Woosley.
Sorry, your time was up a long time ago. So.
No, Mr. Woosley, I'm the county judge here. You're not.
We're very well that you're a county judge. You remind us all the time.
The Fact of the matter is, we're considering a new police station right now. It would take half the revenue, half the resources of this fiscal court. The court has not decided on that. And yes, we do have money in surplus here, but these people are all cautious here. These are ideas, and that's it. We'll go forward. Next item on the agenda is our sheriff tax settlement. No, we're done with open comment. I closed it. Next item, please. Sheriff.
Good afternoon. Presenting the 2024 tax settlement for Oldham County. Total revenue taken in by the sheriff's office was $294,870,294.22. I'm sorry. And did I say 113 million? I might have said 1,000. I'm going to start all over again. $113,870,294.22. After the credits allowed, and if you have a copy of this, you'll see what most of those credits are. They totaled $5,495,691.28. So the total amount of the revenue kept basically was $108,374,602.94. So this is what we presented. So
Is there a motion to approve the sheriff tax settlement?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on it? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Do we have one?
It's just a point of order. Don't we, you said a motion to approve it. Don't we just accept it?
That's actually correct, but you can approve it too.
We
It's
can
okay.
approve it too. It doesn't matter. It's the same.
Okay.
Yeah. Judge will sign it now and we'll present it to the state. So, okay.
All right.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right, we'll accept it. It doesn't matter. Same difference. All right, now we're at the Oldham County Task Force presentation. Zach Wilt and Chief Fonte.
Thank you, Judge. Magistrates, open this. And it's not going to work. Perfect, thank you.
Come work for the county.
So we were at a task force meeting. The Oldham County Task Force is composed of the volunteer fire departments as a whole. We cover and assist EM through mutual aid, provide assistance to emergency management utilizing personnel, funds, and equipment provided by the fire departments across the county. We do monthly trainings held at different areas, typically in Ballsville Station 2 or LaGrange Station 2 because that's the center of the county, and we try to, that way, work close to everyone's districts. Oldham County Task Force assist EM, which Mr. Wilt, with hazmats as well as search and rescue. Training is provided by the county fire departments as well as outside instructors that are set up through the fire departments. In the event of a hazardous material spill, personnel are notified across the county to assist the local departments at the scene. EM notifies all assisting agencies to help with the scene. Obviously, EM is ultimately in charge of all any kind of hazmat, depending on the severity. And then we have mutual aid with Anchorage Middletown and Oldham County EMS, which is the closest team that will come out to assist us in the event of a larger hazmat that we can handle inside the county. The county has 2 hazmat trailers currently. Level 8 trailer, which is the entry trailer, is at Ballsville Station 1, and there's a Level B trailer, which is more of a decon mitigant trailer, which is kept at South Oldham. Actually, we just moved it. It's at South Oldham Fire Station 2. Level 8 trailer is our primary response unit. It's got thousands of dollars worth of equipment to provide monitoring, sampling, as well as personal protective equipment in our supplies with that. Level B trailer, as I said, is a decon trailer. We also have a Polaris Ranger we purchased in 2007 with grant monies we were awarded. And then just recently, we also, with Fiscal Court and the Rogers Group, we start the Oldham County Aerial Response Team. which is the drone team, which is critical in hazmat emergencies. Here's some photos just of training and whatnot throughout the county. So one of our most utilized deployments is search and rescue, along with the drone team, search and rescue, which I've got with me, it failed to introduce, Chief Blakely with South Oldham Fire Department, and then Kenny Ratliff, which is with Ballardville, and he's with the Oldham County Task Force as well, and Bill McClay. They're the SAR coordinators. Search and rescue is one of the most utilized branches. Typically, it's missing persons that's on a regular basis. A lot of times those are either elderly that have dementia or whatnot, or juveniles, young children that walk off, and we have to locate them in cooperation with the Oldham County Police Department, Sheriff's Department, and whatnot. BSAR, which is Basic Search and Rescue, is the training requirements mandated by Kentucky EM. FEMA identifies that as land SAR, and that's our typical mission. And then USAR is Urban Search and Rescue. This is severe weather in the event of a tornado or flood or whatnot, where mass numbers of public have been exposed. And we've been lucky in the county so far. We've had a few small incidents. Zach's still working on mitigation on through some of those, but as far as tornadoes and whatnot, we had one kind of bounce through Buckner. You know, we've gotten lucky, let's just put it that way, compared to our southern parts of our state. Task force, here's some of the training we do as a county. Some of the magistrates were at this training. This was on Waldeck Farms. We've got the drone trailer there, and then one of the members has a command bus. Just some aerial. This was a fire we had on Allen Lane, and it actually went up to the adjoining subdivision, almost burnt the house down. So we got lucky on that one. So this is one of the ways we use the task force as a whole in general. This was in Mayfield. Crews went to assist with deployment. So we also go out of the county. Part of us having the hazmat trailer that was funded with 9/11 money years ago, which most of the equipment was as outdated, but part of that agreement is we have to provide mutual aid assistance outside of our county with those items. The Oldham County Air Response Team, it's the drone team. It's the most used asset we have right now in the task force. It was started with funds from Fiscal Court. The Rogers Group held a skeet shoot, and the funds from this provided the county with the startup funds for the drone team. We have a trailer that's self-sufficient, solar and backup generator. This trailer has 3 different televisions that allow different agencies to observe what the drones are looking at, as well as being used for command posts on most other runs, SAR, hazmat, and several other incident types we do, including house fires and whatnot. Again, this Oldham County Task Force, the drone team is used on pretty much any time the fire department's dispatched on any kind of major incident, the drone team responds to that. We work with the police, the law enforcement agencies as well, and assist with Oldham County Day and any kind of big events in the county. From RTF, PD, talked about that, hazmat, SWAT call-outs, large area searches, field fires, structure fires, reconstructing accident scenes. We've done that a few times, crime scenes. This team is another very important asset to the county. We recently upgraded our newest drone, which is an M30T. That drone can fly in the rain and higher wind conditions, which a lot of times is required. Assisting other agencies with Thunder over Louisville, the Madison Regatta, allows our members to use real-world scenarios to train and get better with these machines. And that drone also was obtained as a grant, with grant monies as well. And then just some more photos. Technical rescue, swift water, confined space, rope rescue, all are branches of the task force. We each have individual branch leaders that run those sections. We're not just firefighters anymore. Around 50% of our runs are assisting EMS with medical runs. The fire departments in the county train weekly. Most of us relying on volunteer members to man stations and protect our community. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Anybody like to get any further information here? Mr. Jeffries.
Just a quick question on your drone. I know that's been a really popular, and I know you've not only utilized it in Oldham County, but you've also gone across, I guess, the state to different emergencies or whatever. Is that, I see you've expanded that a little bit, added that new drone that you talked about, and so, and I know Ryan Baker is, I guess, kind of heads that up or whatever.
Yes, he's the branch leader, yes, sir.
Right, and so how many drones do you actually have now that you're operating in the county?
So we've got five on the drone trailer that stay. Typically, Ryan will keep one in his command vehicle and he responds direct, and then someone else will come get the trailer. But we've got 5. We've got the 3 initially that were purchased, and then EM purchased the Avata, which is a smaller one. We've used it on SWAT callouts with police. You can fly it virtual VR, and it's small. If it basically, if you run into something, it won't crash it. It can bounce off walls, so it's good for tight areas. And then the M30T, we got on the head trust grant in the county. And of course, with the new tariffs, the price has more than doubled on it. But it was designed more for severe weather, so it's able to fly in more inclement weather.
How many drone pilots do you have licensed now that can fly those?
I'm not for sure. I think around 10. And we're just talking about trying to get a 107 class to incorporate. I know Pewee Valley just was awarded a drone, so they've got another pilot as well. So the plan is to get some more pilots. It's just the 107 is a little bit more difficult of a class to host.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Manager Hawkins.
How many emergency management teams are there in the state? Do you guys know?
So emergency management under KRS, you're supposed to have one per county. Some counties consolidate, some share, some have contracts with other counties. I couldn't tell you exactly, but it's all hosted under KYEM. And sometimes there's volunteer emergency managers that, they have to leave their jobs to come out and do this as well. So there's no number. I don't have that. I can definitely get it for you if you need it.
I was just curious. I think we're fortunate to have you all.
Anyone else?
Judge.
Magistrate Hollins.
You mentioned earlier when we have this conversation on an irregular basis. Back when Kevin Nuss was, I don't know if it was he EM or was he deputy EM when we got the first trailer. And we all were real happy when we got the first trailer with all the equipment. And the state gave us a commitment that they were going to fund the trailer when things expired.
You're talking about hazmat?
Hazmat.
Yes.
We haven't received a single dime.
Yeah, so that money was FEMA money. Yeah.
It was FEMA money, and the county has paid, and the fire departments have too. But we've kept those trailers up, and they're probably better than they were when we got them from the state because of technology and upgrades. I hope the court remembers this, but Chief came 2 years ago, I think it was. We upgraded our SCBA. Was it 5 years ago?
5 or 6, yeah, it's been a while. Time flies.
Okay. All right, sorry about that. So many years ago, several years ago, we upgraded that, but most of that has been taken care of. We've gotten a couple of, I think 2, we've gotten reimbursements for runs that have helped. And the plan always was, we don't want to make any responses, but the plan was if we make a response, then the buildings would help offset the cost to be able to keep the equipment upgraded. Knock on wood, we haven't had the responses, so that's been a good issue too. But we were in a meeting last week, some of the magistrates were, and they were talking about EM and hazmat, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And we unfortunately or fortunately have the railroad, the Ohio River, I-71, and when South Oldham decides to close I-71 for fun, 146 and Highway 22 become the new I-70, and 42,
And 42, yeah.
become the new I-71, which creates a whole nother set of dangers. So it's a very well-trained group with a lot of great leadership to make that happen.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for the good job. And a little bit later in the meeting here, we'll be, I believe, approving Bill McClay to be the Assistant Emergency Management Director in Oldham County. So that won't be too long from now.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now we'll have our next presentation is from Brianna Mahalski. Is that right? I want to get your name right. From Rapa Farms, all right? Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I wanted to introduce myself, Brianna Mahalski. I'm an LCSW, a licensed clinical social worker, and I operate Rafa Farm. This is Kimberly Damon. She is one of our board members.
Hi, Your Honor. Could I actually approach the bench and hand out? We
Sure.
don't have a
Yes.
presentation.
Yeah,
but
right.
just look.
Right, sure. Give everybody one, sure. Thank you. Okay.
Well, thank you. I live on 5407 Brookswood Court, and I just found out that I'm in District 5. So it's been an informative time already today. We also operate and own property on North 53 that will be soon developed for our nonprofit. We are a 3-year-old nonprofit providing equine-assisted psychotherapy and horticultural therapy techniques. We are based in Oldham County and very glad to be here. And we do work in Jefferson and Trimble counties as well. I am currently a volunteer executive director as we are continuing to fundraise so that we can provide more services to people in our county. Our current services include working with the Northeast YMCA preschool at a community garden. We're also working in a community center in Goshen, doing a community garden there. We're hoping to expand our services to Richwood retirement home out here in LaGrange, as well as once our property starts being developed next year, providing a retreat center of sorts, providing our therapy out here. Right now, we're partnered with Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation in Prospect on 42, and that's where we do our group and individual therapy sessions. We would like to be located in LaGrange. It's been great to be here. I've only lived here about 7 years, but we love the community. And I wanted to thank you guys because I don't know if you remember, but a few months ago, you guys, the fiscal court gave Rafa Farm a $500 grant, which means a whole lot to us. That allows us to provide sponsorships for people of a lower economic status to receive our therapy services, and that just means a lot. So I wanted to come in today and say thank you. As we look at the next year, our hope is, in addition to expanding and developing our property, we want to add a couple therapy groups out here, as well as reintroduce our women's wellness days. We were doing 4-hour Saturdays once a quarter for women to have yoga and time with horses to promote a general wellness. And we've stopped that for now to restructure it and do some marketing. So that's about it, but thank you so much.
Thank you. Have anything? All right. Thank you very much. All right.
you.
Happy to support your group, and we'll look forward to hearing more about you in the future. All right. Payable. Excuse me. Time to pay the bills. If you'd like to make a motion.
Judge, I'll make the motion we pay the payables.
Second.
Are there any questions about anything on the bills today? Hearing nothing, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Now we have budget transfers here, and who's going to take care of those?
I got that, Judge.
All right.
So the budget transfers were presented to the Finance Committee today. Looks like a lot of numbers, but trying to keep everything moving in the right direction. The total budget transfers, let's see, I don't know if, did you give, yeah, here's $1,289,550 is the total budget transfers. Those include general
Hey, Chris,
fund.
pull your mic closer.
I'm sorry. Those include general fund, jail transfers, road fund, dispatch, and the total again is $1,289,550. So make a motion, we accept the budget transfers.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on those items?
Yes, sir.
As you die.
I notice in the right-hand column, each one of these state, it's an actual spending above the budget plan. Now, I don't, excuse me, I don't have the other budget transfers that are in my hand during the year, but during the last 12 months or 11 months, is it customary for these individuals or individual departments to spend outside their budget plan? And what are y'all doing to make the budgets? I'm not saying they shouldn't spend the money. I'm just saying, are we making these departments who overspend be more realistic in their budget requests?
We had some of this conversation, Magistrate, in the Finance Committee. I mean, if you look on some of those things, it's unforeseen overages. Some of that is because of what we were told that item was going to cost at the time of budget is exceeded. For an example, vehicle maintenance. As you well know,
Right.
we can put a number in whatever, and unfortunately, sometimes we exceed that. I know Magistrate Jeffries asked about some computer software charges, and those were some additional upgrades that were made, computers that were purchased to help do some streamlining. So, I mean, we can pick apart some of them, yes, but a lot of them are legitimate.
So you would say that there's not any warehousing of money going on?
I don't believe so. I will say that the treasurer did tell us he was able to make changes within the same group.
Right.
So there was money moved from a police category to another police category. Same thing with parks, which is great because while they were short in another category, that shortage allowed us to bring the other account to being true.
And I understand I'm always going to use a $20,000 lawnmower. We've got several of those. The engine blows up, and that wasn't one that you thought was going to go this year. Maybe you had 2 more years left on it. I can understand where that would be, but I was on finance for 8 years, and I just want to make sure that we're refining that or sharpening that pencil, so to speak, with each go around.
Well, my opinion is it can always be sharpened more, and we do get better at it every year.
Okay. All
One
right.
year we'll get perfect.
Okay. I found it unusual that all of them were spent outside their budget. Okay. Thank you.
Manager Tice.
This is the last part of the budget transfers that close out the end of the year?
Likely not.
Question, pardon me?
Likely not. Okay. The treasurer did say, and the CFO, that they did try to forecast, I guess is the best term to use, but we may have another set of them at the next meeting.
But that'll be in July.
No, sir, that'll be the one next week.
Next week.
June 26th. Yes, sir.
Well, we have to have everything balanced at the end of the year.
I got you.
Anything else? All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor of approving the transfers, say aye.
Aye.
Motion, anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, now we're down to personnel items. Ms. Schaaf, you want to,
Good afternoon. Before you all, we have 4 police recruits we're bringing to you for hire. We have Joshua Flagg, Tate Crawwell, Zachary Taylor, and Nick Fansera. Turner. What'd I say? Taylor. Sorry. Zach, I'm sorry. Zach Turner. They're going to start out at step 1, $26.13 base hourly rate, and they're going to start on the 7th of July. I also included in your packets the recruit contract. That's what we have all the recruits sign. Now they will be with Fiscal Court for 5 years. If they choose to go somewhere else, a different agency within those 5 years, then we will be reimbursed by statute. What's listed there as far as salary and expenses, budget, equipment, benefits, all that type of thing, up to the 5 years.
Training.
And training, yes.
Judge, I'll make the motion that we hire the recruits.
all right?
Next question, Judge.
All right, Magistrate Logston.
So these recruits, Chief, will be riding around with people for up to a year, is that what you said? Sorry to make you get up, I just wanted to make sure.
It's usually about 18 months. What?
We will hire them in July the 7th. They go to school to Department of Trade and Justice on August the 24th. They graduate February the 19th.
Okay.
So after February 19th, when they graduate, they'll start riding with a experienced officer for 18 weeks. So about first part of next July, they'll be riding solo. So it takes a long while.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Magistrate Hawkins.
We hire them 7 July. They start their school in August, right?
Yes.
They'll do ride-alongs for the next month.
Well, they'll do some, but we're going to
Okay.
train them in-house first. We have a list
Okay.
of things we want to accomplish before we send them down to Richmond. We've been very effective in doing that ahead of time, getting them tactically sound, go over all the laws and things so they're prepared for what they're going to face when they go to the LCJT.
Okay.
So it's been really working out for us well, getting them here about a month, 2 months early.
Good.
All right, thank you. Anyone else have? I don't think anybody
Okay,
else
all right,
has a
thank you.
question. All right.
Thanks, Chief.
All right, do we have a motion and a second here, don't we? And any other questions on police recruits? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now I have two appointments here. Hand-picked appointments, I might add. This would be Sherry Gray, our current member of the Police Merit Board, to continue on for a term to expire May 31st of 2029.
Judge, I'll move that we hire Shalonda Gray, Sherry.
Reappoint.
Or appoint,
Is that-
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
not hire, right, reappoint.
Second.
All right, is there a second? Will you get a second?
Second.
All right. Questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And we'll also now, I'd like to recommend that Bill McClay be appointed as a Deputy Emergency Management Director for Oldham County, and that would be effective today.
I'll second that, Judge.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Shouldn't that
Bill-
be under personnel actions?
Pardon?
Shouldn't that be under personnel actions instead of appointments?
Well, he's
we're
got
not
to
hiring.
swear him in.
You know,
It's not a paid position.
oh, it's not a paid position. Oh, okay. It sounded it was when you said. All right, sorry.
All
Thanks.
right. Bill, would you like to come forward here, and I'll swear you in?
It's not a paid position.
Yeah, walk.
Okay.
Zach, are you going to grab that picture? Or you want to be in the picture? You want to take the picture? Or you want to be in the picture?
It's just,
It's probably dual, man.
We don't have the money.
Don't worry. Don't worry. The judge will cover you up. Maybe.
Bill, do you solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth? To be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky, so long as you remain a citizen thereof, and you will faithfully execute to the best of your ability, Deputy Director of Oldham County Emergency Management. And you further solemnly swear that since the adoption of the present Constitution, you being a citizen of this state have not fought a duel within this state, nor out of it, nor have you accepted a challenge to fight a duel, or acted as the second in carrying the challenge, or aided or assisted anybody thus offending, so help you God. So help me God. Congratulations. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Judge, I'm impressed you can remember that from memory.
He has it tattooed on his arm.
All right, thank you. All right, time now for the second public comment, and anybody who wants to refute me is welcome to come forward at this point or say something else, whatever.
Good afternoon, Judge Nathan Oberg, 1414, and Magistrates Nathan Oberg, 1414 Yeager Lane. Although I appreciated the article written from the other pilot in Bourbon County, that was not me. There's 4,000 of us. I do quite a bit of flying, but I don't do all of it. We Are Oldham County is the group that we started in the void of information, a vacuum. We provided information to the best of our abilities. We talked to the county about what the county needs. What the county needs is a definition of a data center. We are not against progress, Judge. We're against a lack of transparency. We're against the kind of progress that is not outlined in the comprehensive plan. It's not in there. Not one word. We need to have an updated comprehensive plan. We need to have a definition of what a data center is. And enough of this conditional use permit business. You can put a conditional use permit in any zoning district in Oldham County. The fact that WHP pulled their application from Highway 53 means absolutely nothing to me. These people deserve your very best, and you swore to do that. Come up with a definition for a data center. Define it so it can go in an appropriate zoning district. That's the whole point. Just so because they pulled off of 53 and moved over to Sauerbeck that just happened to be light industrial doesn't change the fact that they can pull that permit at any time and go back to 53. That's the outrage, Judge. You've missed the whole point. We want progress that's transparent. The fact is that May 22nd meeting, elected officials and appointed officials met with WHP and they agreed to assist WHP. You agreed to call Rob Houchins and ask him to pull his appeal. That is not transparent. If elected and appointed officials agree to delay a moratorium and carve out names in a moratorium, that is not transparent. When asked what we're going to do with the dissenters, and that's the last of the citizens, these people standing behind me, they want you to just do it the right way. You said we're just going to stiff arm them.
It's very hard.
When
to
it was
listen to
discussed,
you
my
make
time
up
isn't finished. When it was
accusations.
discussed, the moratorium just gums things up. And the carve-outs were discussed with WHP to gain advantage over your citizens. That's me and my kids. That's them. We're the good guys. Take care of us. We didn't start pointing fingers and blaming people until it got serious. Well, it's serious. And it's going to get some national attention if we don't get a moratorium that is inclusive of all data centers. We are making grave, grave errors, Judge. We know what happened in that meeting. If Magistrate Hounds wants his marching orders, here's your marching orders. We need a moratorium that's inclusive for all data centers. This is very reasonable. Ryan's going to work on some definitions. We're going to get some planning and zoning regulation in place, and then we move
Time is up,
on.
Mr. Oberg.
Do you need more time?
No.
I'd like some more time.
Make a motion, we give you 4 more minutes.
Thank you, sir. Anybody want to second that?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Judge, mistakes are being made here. I'm not your enemy. I'm just fighting for what's right. And what's right is following the policy and procedures that we have in place here. We've done it historically with, we can call a hospital. We can call a adult entertainment. Just call a data center what it is. It's a data center. Define what the daggone things are. And then move on. And you do that with a moratorium. Provide yourself some time. Everybody's watching. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to respond to Mr. Oberg here now before anybody else gets up. Number one, Mr. Couchins, did I ask you to withdraw your application? Speak up there or speak back here? You can speak there. I don't think I asked you to withdraw your application. I said at the meeting I thought you might, but and would, given the fact it was off, but I didn't ask you to withdraw your application. Number two, nobody has said anybody's stiff-arming anybody. Where that came from is a total mischaracterization or lie. You have put on your website that I'm a liar about a meeting. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. You happen to use the word apparently just as a little weasel word at the end in case you were wrong. I did not ask for the meeting with the Western Pioneers or Western Hospitality I got. I asked for a meeting with myself and the 2 representatives of Western Hospitality. I did not confirm a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce. Holly had put one on my calendar after they asked for one. I thought we would be myself and 2 members of the Western Western Hospitality. I didn't ask for a meeting with Western Hospitality, myself and 8 or 9 other people in the room. That was not the meeting I asked for. But you and others have taken and confluted that into the meeting I asked for and called me a liar. I'm tired of being called a liar in this community. Mr. Oberg, you have damaged my name purposely. At the city council meeting in LaGrange 2 weeks ago, you stood up and said that officials have colluded with Western Hospitality.
On a meeting on the
That is-
22nd,
Mr.
that is
let me
collusion,
speak.
sir.
I let you speak, now let me speak. Now, you said we colluded. Colluded is a word that is a very negative word, implies a secrecy and deceit. No one here has colluded with anyone. No one here has colluded with anyone, and I suggest your group stop making these ridiculous accusations against everybody sitting here except Mr. Woosley, who at one time said he was for the Highway 53 project, then flipped when it became apparent a number of people were opposed to it. We're not colluding with anybody. We're giving everybody a fair chance to present their case here. People that want us just to write somebody off, no, that's not the way it's done legally. There is going to be a hearing, and the attorneys will present the case, and the Board of Adjustments will make a decision. I personally think the case is moot at this point because they're off 53. We didn't tell them to go down to Commerce Parkway so they could go back to 53 later. I don't think anybody's going to wind up on 53 in this administration. That's an agricultural area with no adjacent industrial area to it. You keep misrepresenting everything about the fiscal court to people in this community. It's time to stop. I'm telling you, you're carrying up this community with lies, and I don't care what you say about me because I can't
think you
stop
do.
people. I can't keep up with the daggone lies that are told about me night and day.
Judge, did you agree?
Please let me finish speaking. I did not say we would stiff arm anybody. Whoever said that is wrong. People pick up things and they continue to repeat things that aren't true, and then somebody else adds to it. All these people with an internet connection or lawyers can actually say what all the law is, what needs to be done. We're following the law here perfectly. What you want us to do is skip ahead and not follow the procedure, to stick in a special meeting ahead of time when that's normally not been done any other time in the 20 years, 19 years I've been on this court. So we're following the procedure, and they're going to be given an opportunity to make their case. I didn't say I was for them. I said we'd consider it somewhere else. Somebody stood up here earlier and talked about all the pollution. Well, how much pollution is there? We don't know yet. How much sound is there? We don't know yet. How much water is being used? We don't know yet. These are all open questions that are being completed by people on your within your organization. They're giving the answers to questions that have not been satisfied yet. But in the meantime, we're calling everybody here except Mr. Woosley a liar.
That is not true. I'm calling you a liar, Judge. You got no honor.
No,
None.
I can go right on your website right now.
You
and
have
say
got none.
The judge has lied, and he's
Do
lied to
you
the Attorney
admit
General
that
office.
you had tried to work around the appeals process and delay the moratorium and following Chris, you were there.
I don't know what you're talking about. I wrote down here my marching orders. I'd like to know what my marching orders are. No one's given me any marching
Yeah,
orders.
several times what your marching orders were to WHP. So there was
what
no
were they?
mistake.
What were they? What were my marching orders? I'd love to know what they are.
We talked, or you had talked about having these, talking to the appellants.
Talking to what?
Talking to the appellants, the folks that have an appeal on file, and having them pulled. Cliff
Yeah, we
said,
tried
I
to get it
can
out of
even
the
talk to,
countryside
I can even talk to Randy Strobo, and maybe Nana would pull her appeal. They talked about my appeal being untimely. They said Rob's is the most effective appeal. And then you went on and continued to talk about how the moratorium, the group, how the moratorium gums things up. And you were talking about moratorium carve-outs so that this data center did not have to
we
follow
didn't
the
talk
rules
about
of the rest of the
moratorium
data centers.
Carve-outs. AT&T has to be included because they were afraid it was going to
This
interfere
is an
with their
embarrassment.
normal business.
And I am not
You
going
people
to
make
argue
things
with a
up.
child.
You're just making up everything. They're just you're making up everything and believing anything that somebody says. You're just not, here's a guy that said I handpicked everybody. Yeah, I handpicked everybody on about 25 boards and present them here for confirmation. You didn't bother to include that fact. Just said I handpicked the people on the Board
May I have
of
my time,
Adjustments.
please?
Pardon?
May I have my time, please?
I'm not sure. We're pretty tired of some of the things you've said, frankly.
Well, I'm pretty tired of some of the things you're saying.
Yeah, well.
So may I have my time?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. You seem to be conflating personal assaults with actual facts. I understand that because you're being affected personally. Tell me one fact that we have lied about on our site. One fact. Take personnel stuff out. I agree. That's BS. One fact. We spent more time looking at generators, what emissions are, going to forums. We studied this stuff. You say you don't even know at this point? Why don't you know this stuff?
I didn't say I didn't know. I said,
Yeah, you did. You just said you don't know this stuff. You're trying to find the information. We've had this information for months.
Did I say I knew it? No, well.
That's what I heard.
Well, that's what you heard.
Well, I appreciate
What
you
I
treating
think
your
I said
citizens
was
as
that
unruly
Western
teenagers as
what I
well,
think I-
that have an issue with you, and you treat us like unruly teenagers. You don't go to a doctor and say, hey, something hurts, and the doctor just goes, well, you're unruly, go away. You look at what the problem is of the hurt. What is your problem? I don't understand this. You go on, I have my time. You go on and you have this list. Oh, come on now.
No, come on, stop.
Come on now. This is.
Let him speak.
Let me finish.
I'm going to let him finish, but if he.
You go on to this tirade of what we could have in this county. Basically, you're just saying what you failed to get in this county. That's all you just did. You said you failed to get this skating rink, this. He already said we have millions in the budget. So you're admitting all the failures you have to bring stuff into this county, and you're looking for this deus machina to come out of the woods and save your ass. I'm tired of this shit.
Mr.
I don't want to listen to you anymore.
I don't want that gentleman back in here again. He uses foul language. Take him out. Take him out. I didn't say, he describes what I've said as a failure because of me to get it. I said we can't have all those things. We might have some of these things. We brought up things of, I'm not going to defend myself. I'm not the only person who decides on what projects are undertaken in the county. They're not mine alone to decide. Belongs to the entire board. And, so.
Hi, Judge.
Okay.
Tommy Williamson, you know me, 2100 Allen Lane, LaGrange. Is it possible to put the draft moratorium on a web page so we can review it in advance before Thursday?
Right.
It's on the website under the public notices section. It's on the website under public notices section.
Okay, thanks. Missed it. Okay, thank you.
Could I address
All right.
Mr. Williamson?
All right. Rob, come on.
Rob Houchins, 1400 Jaeger Lane. I promise not to swear. What I would like to say is that there's been now 2 attorney letters that have come to me about my appeal that I'm trying to hear in the Board of Adjustments on Thursday. And what they've both said is that they're trying to throw out the appeal, and they're throwing it out on this reason or that reason, and here's a 6-page letter. The Board of Adjustments has never operated this way. It was a pre-trial letter. That's how we put lawyers in our process. The Board of Adjustments has been allowed to be the way it's been. It's in their bylaws, exactly how the process works and exactly how things have been communicated. I want you guys to be aware that now they're trying to turn it into something that I don't believe it was intended for, and I'm disappointed in how these legal wranglings have been taking place to try not be heard. So Judge, I heard what you said a minute ago, and you said we're going to go to the Board of Adjustments on Thursday. I hope you and all of you will support the fact that I just want to be heard. And here's what I want to be heard about. My appeal is very simple. It's not personal about Ryan or anybody in planning and zoning. I've seen nothing but professionalism when I've dealt with him. I disagree with the decision to accept it as a private utility, and here's why. I don't want it because it's in every single district. Residential, commercial, industrial, it's listed in all of them. And my fear is that if they approve one, that it could also then be approved in another district and go right back out to 53 or many other places. Look, I can tell you, as I've talked to lots of people, some of them are against all data centers, and some of them are against only data centers in places like 53. I can't tell you what the statistics are, but I can tell you there's a large group on both sides. And so all I'm saying is, let's hear it, let's discuss it, and let's have the Board of Adjustments be what it always has been, where someone like me, who's not a lawyer, can come up and speak, be heard, and have the board do what they've always done. That's all I'm asking for.
Right, Rob, I want to ask you, have I personally asked you to withdraw your application?
The only thing that you have done, you've not asked me to withdraw yes, the answer to your question, you have not done that. I'm affirming what you're saying. You called me, we had a discussion. You said, I thought you weren't against, or I'm not trying to paraphrase you or misquote you. You asked me, I thought you weren't against all data centers, and I'm not. Okay? Right. So you thought I would be okay with what it's out here. My case is simply about, I don't want one CUP being used, and then CUP can be used for all over the county. And that's all I'm after. I'm just asking it to go to the process. Let's get the moratorium in place. Let's get the rules in place. And then let's follow the rules like we do for any other. Is that fair?
Okay, sure. I did not, I think I heard you say I did not ask you to do that, although I was accused of asking you to do that. And I will, excuse me, I will say that I think there's a fundamental disagreement here between our county staff and the opponents of the data center. We don't believe here that if this is approved as a private utility, that opens the door for it to be dropped everywhere else in the county. It still has to go through the Board of Adjustments. Things can be turned down. The Board of Adjustments doesn't have to approve anything anywhere. All our non-lawyer friends say it does, but we'll let the lawyers figure that out. There is no industrial connection to the Highway 53 project. Is to change that from agriculture to industrial. Say this can be in agriculture. We think is a stretch. Okay. Now, there has been a discussion here recently, something showing up on Facebook. 7 other data centers are planned for Oldham County. Okay. I didn't plan to address this today just because I spoke so long earlier, but those 7 actually involve, I believe, 3 different organizations. 2 of them were from the Western Hospitality. 2 of them are from another group already have a data center underground in the county. Who was planning something for the next decade, and the others have to do with business people in this county who have asked LG&E if they could get power to their property. Okay, we were not told anything about this, although other people have jumped on Facebook, said you either knew all about it or you're incompetent because you don't know about it. LG&E is not in the business of telling us about everybody that they're talking to. Everybody talking to LG&E doesn't necessarily come and tell us anything before they're ready to tell it. There was a lot of talk earlier about confidential statements being made. I'm assuming that the owners of this property, if they are talking to data centers, these other properties, are under some kind of confidentiality agreement not to discuss it with anybody, including us. But we're told you know all about it, or you're incompetent, one or the other. We didn't know anything about it, but yet we're getting lambasted for that, and people have altered that page that's been put on the website. There's nothing on the LG&E property or on the document referred to the Public Service Commission that says Oldham County will be the data center of Oldham County. Somebody has added 2 or 3 extra lines to that page that's being circulated out around. Just too much. Why don't we all slow down? Let's see how the process plays out. And let's see what the rules are. We're going to come up with rules. The Planning Commission, they're going to be submitted to the Planning Commission. In the event this thing went to the Board of Adjustments for a determination before the Planning Commission could handle it, we will still, our Board of Adjustments will still be cognizant of all of the requirements that we're getting in there. The previous speaker said I knew nothing about anything. Oh, that's not true. We all understand that there should be Tier 4 generators. These generators need a filter system on them so that the amount of pollution that comes out is very minuscule. But the word pollution scares a lot of people. Well, how much pollution is it? Is it this much or this much? How much noise is there going to be? Is this company planning any noise impactful things to limit any noise? Maybe you won't hear it at all. I have my windows open at night. I hear the interstate go down from my home, trucks going by all night long. That might be 80 decibels at my house for all I know. So there's a lot of people putting out statistics about circumstances that have not been defined by the data center as to what they think they should do or what we're willing to let them do. But everybody's out in front of us before we get there, like we're a bunch of bumbling fools here that can't come to some sort of process for evaluating the validity and safety of this application, and we're going to be invaded by others. Well, I don't think any of us, at least most of us sitting here, don't think we're going to permit any kind of invasion of anything here inappropriate. And I just tried to say if we had some extra revenue in this county for all these different districts, could probably find something beneficial to do for people here. But anyway.
If I may respond, there's a lot you just said.
Okay,
but
sure.
If I may respond on the first part on the CUP, and Judge, if I thought that you were correct and that these data center companies wouldn't come out here and try to apply for 53 in other places, I would drop my appeal, because I'm not saying that we shouldn't have industry in industrial areas. I'm not saying that. I've never said that. So that's where we have a disagreement, and we'll go about and we'll look at the definitions and we'll figure that out hopefully on Thursday. Hopefully those will happen. In terms of speaking against you, you appointed me to sit in that seat right over there on the Board of Adjustments, and I sat there for 10 years. And while we did have one big disagreement at one point, we worked through it and we got to the end of it, okay? And the deal is I can't control, though, everything that's said on the internet. And I apologize on behalf of anything that I would have said wrong, but I can tell you that it was never my intention to infer, for example, that you're getting rich under the table or anyone up here at this board has. I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's right. In terms of the data, the map you're referring to, I'll look at the map again myself. But I do believe there are other people that are trying to come in and turn us into maybe not a Loudoun County, but a place with lots and lots of data centers. And that's what I hope to prevent, because I don't want this, because I think Oldham County is great the way it is. Not saying we shouldn't do any growth, but I'm just saying we have to be careful. And I appreciate your comments about putting the rules and regulations in place. Honestly, I wish that we had done what the city council had done in LaGrange, and they got it done quickly, because my fear is that on the 19th, in 2 days, when we have this meeting, if it goes one way or the other, there could be a rush of applications filled between that time and the time the moratorium is in place. I could be wrong, but there could be.
You mean in a week?
In a very short period of time, yes.
How can anybody come up with an application in a week when they don't have any kind of power? Can you just put in a piece of paper and say, we're going to try to look at this 5 years from now if LG&E will give us the power? It's ridiculous.
I hope you're right.
There's nobody else out there pending except one that has buzzed around the Oldham Reserve, but there is no sales agreement on that. There is, we're going to sell something tomorrow in Oldham Reserve. Yeah, somebody's going to buy about $5 million worth of property, but it's not a data center. I know he wants me to shut up, but so
don't break any rules you're not supposed
to. But I don't think we don't have to let anything into this county that we don't want. I won't be sitting here when the next decision comes around. If whoever's sitting here It's not going to be, people just aren't going to come in here and do anything they want to do. I mean, I don't know why everybody thinks that somebody can.
I'm hoping that my appeal will be heard, and I'm hoping we figure that out, and I'm hoping we can move forward for all of us and this county. And Judge, I hope that you've never heard anything from an awful lot of people, and a Facebook comment here or there does not mean that that's true. Okay, there are things that may be true, and are things that are not, but don't take them all personally, because I don't think that's fair. And so I don't want you to feel like that, and I don't want you to feel like all your years here have been incorrectly looked at.
Yeah, and Rod, you sat on the Board of Adjustments for quite a few years.
I did.
Let me ask you this, and maybe I'll take a chance on your answer. Did
answer will be
anything ever
truthful.
come before you on the Board of Adjustments that was not clear as to what it might be or to where it should go into under our rules and regulations?
I will go a step further than you're asking me, and I will tell you, you never did anything inappropriate to ask me to do anything other than serve in the role I was asked to serve.
Well, I didn't say do anything inappropriate. I said that any subject, did anybody apply for permission from the Board of Adjustments to do something that wasn't already covered in some rule somewhere?
Correct.
Or did you have to make it? That's your whole point, making decisions.
Yep. I agree with you.
Right. About things that aren't clear.
I agree with you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I think we're ready to wind things up unless somebody else wants to come up and say something. And
Lots has been said here today.
name and address, please.
Amy Wellborn, 3404 Shady Dell Boulevard, LaGrange. Judge, you said that, you just said, you don't have to let just anybody in. Why are we letting WHP get in before the moratorium, before setting our regulation amendments? It just doesn't make sense. Unless there's a huge motivation behind it.
Here we go with more negatives.
What's that?
I say, here we go with more negatives. We haven't let anybody in. They're going to have to comply with every rule that we come up here with, or they won't come in.
Currently, WHP is trying to get into the county with a data center before regulations are set in place.
No.
Let her speak, please. This is her time. Let her speak.
Can I rewind time
That
here?
is totally wrong. 100% wrong. There will not, nobody's coming in here without any regulations being set. Totally wrong.
Timing.
Please don't repeat that.
Okay,
Or
timing
project
is very important and relevant in this subject.
What?
Timing. Timing is very relevant to this subject. I think we can all agree on that, can we not?
Not necessarily.
No?
I don't think we can agree on anything.
So having private business meetings where you strategize how you're going to give them the time they need to get their application in before regulations are set in place is a huge deal.
Now, wait a minute. Let's take that sentence apart. Nobody had a private business meeting to strategize how they could get there. That is wrong. Completely wrong. That's just made up hyperbole and projection by you. We had a meeting with these people to tell them to get off Highway 53, that it was not going to be approved out there. Now, the fact that they turned around and wanted to go somewhere else, that was not strategizing with them to beat anyone. That's part of what we're saying here. You're making up all of these circumstances.
I did not make this up.
Well,
I did not wake up this morning from a dream
Well, you
and
sure
say,
did. You just said a meeting to strategize.
this is what I'm going to fabricate.
You just made that up, a meeting to strategize. That was not a meeting to strategize. That was a meeting to tell them to get off 53.
I'd like to just finish my statements if I can. Honesty and integrity is everything to a person's name, and I think you made a statement to that effect that you feel you're being attacked on Facebook.
Feel like it. Read it. Anybody would know it.
Well, honesty and integrity is also important to maintaining community trust. I want you all to remember that. There's been a lot that's gone on, and it's not right. Why not do it the right way? Why not go through the moratorium and then approve a data center? Why give WHP special permission outside of what needs to happen? Why not approve a moratorium without any exceptions? That is my request, is no exceptions to PUD or IPDs. Let's do this right and make it clean. Excuse me, I lost my place. What we are watching play out with this hyperscale data center proposal is a manipulation of our inefficient regulations at the moment, which can be fixed. We have a slick attorney who seems to be very, very cozy with our government, our local government, holding unannounced private meetings with WHP, whether you thought it was just going to be the WHP reps or the council or the magistrates that were there or John Black or David Bazanis, whoever, they were there. And it was all to save 53. But it was also to give them a chance to get in before the moratorium. So my question, which is kind of rhetorical, who do you work for? I just watched a gentleman take an oath, which was beautiful, to uphold our Constitution and our Kentucky Constitution. And we must remember what that means. You don't work for Cliff Ashburner. You don't work for WHP. You work for the citizens that live in this county. And yes, we want better roads and we want different things, but there's also proper ways to do it. This is my opinion, and it's probably of no use because you think we've drank the Kool-Aid, as Cliff Ashburner likes to say. You've been extorted. WHP wants to do it their way without going through the proper procedures. They want to set the precedents, and you've played into their hands. If they wanted to be community partners, we would have been hearing about power tariffs, which is happening in other counties in our Kentucky. We would have been hearing about how they want to be a community player and what they want to give back to the community if they get to come to our county. Don't hear any of that going on. It's all about what we're going to give them, we're going to get part of our KSR property someday and how they're going to get this and that to get what they want. And you mentioned no eminent domain, but it's happening just down the street from me. In fact, some of my neighbors that back up to me will actually see this happen with Highway 53. So, in my opinion, using the private utility as a term for a data center is nonsense. And I want to just reiterate, integrity is important. Can't go back and I'm trying to look. Sorry, I'm not a good public speaker. Honesty, integrity, those are things that I want you all to walk out of here and think about because we all live in this county together. It's tearing our county apart. And you may think we're just a small group that drinks Kool-Aid and thinks this is our identity now, as some say. But there's more people out there. I just came from a Rotary meeting where there are business people in this community who ask but don't speak up because it affects their businesses. They're not going to speak up. Thank you.
I don't want to engage in a rebuttal with Amy here, but it just seems that Amy's used the word like manipulate and slick, and it just seems like if someone's definition of integrity doesn't square with Amy's point of view, you're wrong. Well, that's not necessarily the case. Everybody in here is entitled to have their point of view, and some, we've all expressed it. But I think many people are giving Western Hospitality Partners a lot more credit, if you want to call it that, for being manipulative. I haven't dealt with them but a few times myself, and my meetings have all been asking them to get off Highway 53 and, try to locate another place in Oldham County that would be more acceptable. It wasn't, that's how we've spoken to these people, and I'm not sure that we're not trying to be maneuvered into a position of defending Western Hospitality Partners. We said you can come here and try to apply for a data center permit to operate in our county, but we're in the process of putting together regulations that you will have to comply with. And if you can't comply with those regulations, you won't be in Oldham County. And so I don't really understand why we're being accused of colluding and working with these people any more than we would be colluding with any other business that might come to Oldham County. We have not rejected them out of hand, as some people have, said we should. But that's not a legal process, as far as I know. I think anybody is willing to come here and has the ability to go through the process that's set up to be considered to be a business in Oldham County. And because there hasn't been a clear definition of what a data center hadn't been in any county in Kentucky. But we have one now. We're getting one together, and we're getting all the rules together. Give us a little, planning and zoning, a little opportunity here to work this out without inferring, making negative, emotions, or not emotions, but, reasons for us doing things. We're not here to sell Western Hospitality. We're here to give them a chance. If they will meet with all of our regulations, then they can be considered. And I don't think we're going to be subject to an invasion. Other places want to come here because we have the power, we have the water. We're close to some sort of hub in Louisville that handles a lot of high-speed, behind the scenes internet traffic. There's reasons why they have found us. We didn't go out looking for them, but we're trying to consider the circumstance and not. But people have gotten out in front of us, and we can't keep up with the criticisms. Things happen. We're criticized before we even do anything. Okay, Alan, go ahead.
Okay, Alan Hayes, 2923 North Highway 53. I was just actually kind of asking, back early June, I sent an email to Magistrate Wolseley and Ryan about the definition of what is a data center. Yeah. Basically, I just sent kind of a technical definition of what a data center could be for planning and zoning purposes, how you could peel off a hyperscale data center, and then also created a third category just called a high energy use facility, just in case some lawyer somewhere gets cute and clever and finds a gap. And the other definitions, it would still trip as saying that this is a person who uses a lot of energy. Let's pull them into this process anyway. Then I had some discussion about why I chose some of the words I used. So anyways, I didn't get an answer to it. I don't really expect one, but I just wanted to know, is that helpful, or does it just create more static for the people that are trying to do the job?
Did you send that to me?
Yeah, I mean, or
I've got
planning and zoning
communication sent it down to Western, and like I say, I'm very interested in what your idea is, and I hope it can be made to work.
Yeah, well, no, I'm saying the question was how do we define data center? And so I created what I think is a definition that would work, or at least it's kind of a framework.
We'll give it to Ryan.
Yeah. Okay, I just didn't know if it worked or if there's any way to get input on it or anything like that. I just want to make sure I'm not adding static to the conversation.
No, you're not.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we've had a pretty unusual meeting here today. We all need to take a breath. Let's give each other a chance. We need to give you a chance. You need to give us a chance. We're all trying to do the right thing for Oldham County, and there's nobody here being underhanded, deceitful, or trying to do anything that's not appropriate. And it's really hard to, to be accused, and people don't want to believe us. But and that's disappointing too, because we live here too.
May I respond
Yes.
to
Okay. You
something?
want it? We'll go through. Want to go? You can respond as let's end the meeting. Okay. But Michael Logston, you have anything you'd like to add today? No, sir. Bob Dye?
Nope.
Okay. Well, now it's your turn, Stephanie.
I wanted to first say, before I respond to those, just in magistrate comments, and I'm sure Magistrate Woosley will expound on this, but I didn't want us to forget to acknowledge the Aquatic Center and their lifeguards and the Aquatic Center director, whose name is Rachel. And I personally saw one of the guards jump in after a little tyke about 2 weekends ago when I was there. And then just the other day, we got a lovely email from a mom who another guard had jumped in after her little one. And so I just wanted to acknowledge the job that those kids are doing, and then their management by Rachel. She's doing an excellent job, and it's sort of solidified by the fact that the guards come back year after year. So just wanted to compliment our Aquatic Center staff. But one of the speakers, Amy, had spoke about power tariffs, and I hadn't heard that before. So I'd be interested in learning more about power tariffs. That's just not a term I have heard before. And then I like I can't remember, I don't know where he went, Mr. Allen, I think is his name, the High Energy Use Center. Is that what you called it? I would like to see that too. I think that would be helpful as these definitions come in front of this body. I think any information like that would be helpful to help us make a better decision. So I appreciate your input, and then your input with the other thing that you came and spoke on a couple weeks ago. Thank you. That's all I have today, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Downs.
Just a comment, Judge, you made about building some of those projects. It would be really cool to have ice skating rink in that and in the pool. Magistrate Woosley is correct, and we have the money to build those projects. The problem is we don't have the money to run the projects, and that's the rub that we're running into now. Everything that we build that is new requires new staffing. And having been the chair of the Finance Committee for the past couple of years, Magistrate Dye had that distinction before. And we have a balanced budget this year. And with the increase in salaries for our public safety services, it's very tight to get the budget to balance to, as I call it, keep the lights on, have the cash flow to run it. But there is money to build them. It's just we don't have the money to run them on an ongoing basis. And if you keep taking money out of your reserves for operations, it's a recipe for a disaster that some people call bankruptcy, and we don't want to go down that path. Some other things. So last week, some of the magistrates were at the KMCA. I'll get the acronym wrong, so I'm just going to say the Judges Association Conference. And I'll give Magistrate Logston credit for this, and I'm sure he had a part in it, but he created, along with the KMCA, a program to where the magistrates could go through classes, and once you got to 15 hours of classes that were hosted by KMCA through the Pigman College of Engineering, Kentucky Transportation Center Technology Transfer Program in UK, you would receive a certificate. There were 4 magistrates, myself, Magistrate Dye, Magistrate Jeffries, and Magistrate Logston that received our certificates. And this is Magistrate Dye's. I picked it up for him because he was unable to attend the conference. And it's my understanding that I believe that JC told us that there were 2 or 3 other magistrates that were on the edge of receiving this. You have 1 year from January 1st to December 1st to receive their certificate. The purpose of this is to provide education for the magistrates in various topics, and those topics are things that we can bring back to the county. And I think it's important that we continue our education, and I know most of the magistrates get their continuing service hours done in a year. I think it's pretty important to continue to do that because the topics do change. When we were in Lexington last week, we had topics about EMA. Roads is every single time. It seems to be one of the hot button topics. And then there were conversations about the data centers amongst other magistrates asking us questions, those of us that were there, as well as other county judges asking questions about it too. And it is front and center, and Oldham County is being watched as to what we are going to do with the data center project. There are no regulations. One magistrate told me that he didn't even know what a data center was, and he looked it up, and he said, well, that'd be pretty cool to have, but I don't have electricity, I don't have internet, and I don't have water. And I said, well, you might be out of the equation then. But, he said that he was trying to be funny about it. Last week, the fire departments in Oldham County participated in the WHAS Crusade for Children. And just wanted to announce some of the totals. South Oldham continues to be the top collector in the crusade for the county. They had $66,633.54. Ballardsville had $14,775.77. North Oldham had $14,000. LaGrange collected $31,195.97. And I thought I had Westport's total, but I believe it was around $1,000. I couldn't.
927.
927. I was close. I was trying to get their total, and I texted Chief and hadn't gotten a response back. And Pee Wee Valley's total was $22,150. All that money was mostly collected, except for I can say that some of the Pee Wee Valley money came from Jefferson County residents because of our location. But that money was collected by the generosity of the citizens of Oldham County, and appreciate those collections. And one of the things the Crusade tries to do, and is pretty successful, is that money goes back into the county in the form of grants and that various organizations can apply for, like the Oldham County School System. And that's it. Thank you, Judge.
All right, Magistrate Jeffries.
Yes, Judge. The only thing I've got today, I'd like to publicly congratulate Case Sherrill for being elected state 4-H president. He's the first Oldham County student to be elected to that position. It's he'll travel across the state the coming year. Very sharp young man, goes to Oldham County High School, I believe, and his parents are Barrett and Rebecca Sherrill, and they live on Old Sligo Road. So I just want to publicly congratulate him because that's quite an honor. So. That's all. Oh, one other thing. Just want to thank Donnie Dixon and his crew with KYTC. Kevin Woosley and myself have been working on him for a while to get a tree removed out here on 53 in front of Eagles Landing. They finally got that done, I think, yesterday morning. So it's a tree that was about to fall over on to 53. So just want to thank he and his crew for getting that done. So that's all I have, Judge.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Woosley.
July 4th, we're having the fireworks show at Windemore Park at 10 p.m. Just want to remind everybody of that. Also on July 12th, the Parks is hosting the Firecracker 5K at the park. Magistrate Dye, today we heard from Ms. Alvey about the street legal special purpose vehicles, and she said she sent that to Public Safety. Are you guys going to take that up?
It was brought up in the last meeting, and we talked to both the law enforcement agencies, the sheriff and the chief, and we said, well, we're going to have to find out what the administration position is. So we turned it over to Deputy Judge Ender, and he was going to get with the judge and get back with us at the next meeting. And of course, our choice is do nothing or draft an ordinance that had all the things that Ms. Alvey talked about. So it's in the works, but I don't have an answer for it. There's no way we could have got anything done by the 27th because we didn't get told till almost, you know how it is when you have to do an ordinance. You got to go through all the vetting and then have to then you had to go through the public hearing and blah, blah, blah. So it's not hurting anyone because they're not going to be allowed to go out there on the 27th. They just need to sit tight. And if we don't do anything, they won't be able to go out there ever, unless someone creates an ordinance. Thank you.
Magistrate Hawkins mentioned Lifesaver. I was just going to comment on that. We were contacted by a mother who told us about a story about her son, and actually his life was saved by the lifeguard at the park. So appreciate them, what they're doing down there. Magistrate Hounds mentioned the Crusade for Children. I just wanted to give a total for the county. It was $136,895. And I wasn't going to say this, but Judge, what you've done today is shameful. The way you've talked to our constituents is shameful, especially coming from your position as judge in the middle of this dais to talk to folks who come down here to talk to us is shameful. And I am embarrassed to be on fiscal court today. That's all I've got.
Magistrate Tice.
Yes, I've yielded my 4 minutes to Magistrate Hounds.
Magistrate Likens.
Thank you, Judge. First, I just wanted to say that we do not allow personal attacks of fiscal court members. I think you were personally attacked. Someone who says you're a liar and has no integrity is absolutely wrong, in my opinion. You're a person of the highest integrity. Number two, I think if aliens are discovered in space, that maybe we should have a zoning regulation for a landing area in Oldham County. My point is, I'm just a dumb structural engineer. I didn't know what a data center was. And it's landed on us, and we have to figure this out. We're not the bad people up here. We're just trying to figure and gather facts. I applaud your forward thinking of all the projects you listed in Oldham County. You can't wish those things into existence. You have to have money to pay for those. This might be one avenue. If it's in the correct place, it might be, it might not be, but we have no crystal ball up here in Oldham County to see all the things that we're going to be hit with. So I applaud you, and I'm glad I'm not sitting in your seat today. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Well,
Judge, can I come back with
sure,
one thing?
sure.
Yeah, I got it. We've heard this thing called data, whatever. I know it's got to be one or the other, or is it whatever you want to call it? I'd like to get the right word, and I'd like all of us in Oldham County to use that word.
It's data.
It's data. Wayne's serious.
And that's the only thing that I'd like for us to do, is at least get the word right. And that's all. Excuse me, Judge. That's all.
Vegetable.
And if we could come back the next court and have the right word, I'd love that. And that's going to be in a week, though, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Week
Great.
from Thursday. Week from Thursday, we'll be back here again today. Okay, we've had a good family argument here today. Embarrassed Magistrate Woosley. I'm sorry about that.
Wasn't the first time.
But Amy, you said something about eminent domain. I just want to draw a distinction between what she's talking about is these KYTC coming out and trying to work with the homeowners out in the Ballardsville, south of the LaGrange area there to straighten out Highway 53. There's a difference between let's say the state coming in and maybe forcing people to sell their property or whatever, than a private utility, a private organization coming in and getting the government to declare a place for it. I distinguish between a public agency working and a private and taking property for a private use. There's a difference there. We're not going to have any eminent domain in Oldham County with any private business coming in here and getting this government, while we sit here, to do anything harmful to anybody. And we're all trying to get the best rules that's worked together. And I'm not sure, we did not collude with those people to beat the moratorium. It's just not right. We told them to get off 53, and their natural reaction was to go to their second choice in the county. that they had earlier and didn't pick it. So, but if they try to come back to 53, I don't personally think they will, but that's not, we'll stand up and fight that again, and we don't want it out there. Doesn't fit there. But anyway, thank you all for listening to what you had to endure today, and we'll all come back in 10 days and try to be, civil with each other. Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.